Hello, my name is Sensei Alex Kakuyo, and I'm a teacher in the Bright Dawn Center of Oneness Buddhism. I'm also the author of the Buddhist blog, The Same Old Zen. Today, I'll be instructing you on a two-step process which will bring happiness and inner peace into your life. But before I get into that, I'd like to discuss the cycle of suffering first. And some of you may be aware of it, but to review, it starts with desire. And as we desire things, one of three things happens. We get what we want, but it's not what we expected. We don't get what we want. Or we get what we want and it's exactly what we thought it would be, but we lose it in the end because life is impermanent. And as one of these three things happens, that naturally leads to suffering. And in our state of suffering, we develop new desires because the last thing didn't make us happy, but surely the next thing will. So that leads to more desire, which leads to more suffering, and on and on and on. And the result is a lot of frustration and sadness. This is the cycle of samsara that Buddha warned us about 2,500 years ago. Thankfully, there's a very simple way to break this cycle, which I'll tell you about today, and that's the cycle of gratitude and acceptance. And to illustrate how this works, I'll tell you a little about something that's going on in my own life. I recently became the caregiver for 14 fish, 10 black neon tetras, 2 goldfish, 1 gourami, and 1 bala shark. The previous owner decided I didn't want them anymore, and I wanted to make sure they'd be cared for, so I volunteered to take them in. And I don't regret my decision at all, but if I'm being honest, it's been a lot more work than I thought it would be. It turns out that the fish that were all in one tank originally shouldn't have been kept together. The smaller fish were in danger of being eaten by the bigger fish, some were aggressive, so I needed to separate them. So I started with one tank, I ended up with 4, ranging in size from 20 gallons all the way up to 75 gallons, which is kind of big for my apartment, but I found a way to make it work. Also, there's a lot more that goes into taking care of fish than I first realized. You don't just feed them every day, you also have to do weekly water changes where you remove 50% of their old tank water and put in new water to keep it clean. After that, you have to treat the water with chemicals to remove heavy metals and chlorine, things of that nature. And of course, you have to feed the fish twice a day, and different fish need to be fed different things. So all of this work, which I wasn't expecting, could have been a source of terrible suffering for me. However, I practiced acceptance towards it. And as I practiced acceptance and just accepted that this is part of having fish and it's required to keep them healthy, so this is what I'll do, I noticed a few things. That doing the water changes was actually quite meditative. Taking out the buckets of water and pouring them into the sink. I started saying a prayer each time I fed the fish, so it became a consecration not only for them, but for all sentient beings, including myself. And also, it's quite enjoyable to figure out what each fish needs and decorate their tank accordingly and watch them develop new personalities. So as I practiced acceptance, that then gave me the opportunity to practice gratitude for all the enjoyment and pleasure that the fish were giving me in return for my hard work. And then, of course, my gratitude towards the fish motivated me to practice acceptance towards the not-so-glamorous part of the job, which then leads to more gratitude, which then leads to more acceptance, and on and on. And here we are a month later, and the fish have been a source of great happiness and inner peace for me as a result. Wasn't expecting it, but I'm very happy to have it. And I was able to do this because, thanks to my Buddhist practice, I was able to break the cycle of suffering, the cycle of samsara, which I discussed earlier, and then I replaced it with a cycle of gratitude and acceptance. Now, what's great about this is we can do it for anything in our lives. It's not just fish, it could be our job, it could be our family, it could be our drive to and from the grocery store. We just practice acceptance towards the parts we don't like, and then we practice gratitude towards the things we do like. So maybe we have a job that's not so enjoyable, but we practice acceptance that we need to have a job to earn a living, then we have gratitude for our paycheck. It's a very simple example, but I think you get the idea. The more we practice gratitude and acceptance, the happier and more peaceful our lives will be. So that's the talk for today. I hope it was helpful. If you'd like to read articles I've written on Buddhism, you can do that at my blog, The Same Old Zen, which is at URL sameoldzen.blogspot.com. Again, that's sameoldzen.blogspot.com. You can also email me at sameoldzen@gmail.com if you have questions. If you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post new talks in the future. And if you're watching on Facebook and Twitter, please don't forget to share and retweet. That way we continue learning together. So, that's it for today. Until next time, Amitabha.